right? The other way that you find that it kind of sneaks into your strategy is that you shrink. You shrink. You shrink in your presence. You shrink in your visibility. You shrink in what you're saying online, posting online. You shrink in your pricing. You totally over deliver, but undercharge. You know that the level of health, the level of transformation, the level of health transformation that you provide is huge. It's priceless. Hey, welcome back to the Charyse Williams Show. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited, you guys, to officially welcome you to the Quantum Expansion series, where we bridge business strategy with soul aligned embodiment so that you can launch and scale with clarity, with confidence, and with conviction. Okay. And today we're diving into a conversation that most won't say out loud. Most people won't say out loud, but we're going to say it out loud. But here's the thing, even though most won't say it out loud, you've definitely felt it. You have definitely felt it in your body. And that is, you're not stuck, you're split. Or you can even say you're misaligned or you're incongruent. Okay. And here's the thing, when I say stuck or stagnant, this can be for those that are at the beginning stages of your business. Maybe your business is in that infancy stage and you're right on the brink of launching, or maybe you just launched. It could be, maybe you are stagnant or stuck at that 10K per month level. Or maybe you have scaled your business to 20, 25, 30, 40, 50K a month or beyond, but yet you have plateaued. You still feel that plateau. You're stagnant. And so so it doesn't matter where you are in business. Stuck is stuck and it don't feel good. Plateau is plateaued and it doesn't feel good at all in any way, shape, or form. And so here's what it is. You're posting, you're showing up online, right? You're and I'm doing air quotes, you're showing up. You're checking all the boxes. But if we're really being honest, you're still holding back. And you know it. You're still holding back and you know it. So let's talk about what's really going on, shall we? Are you up for it? Let's talk about what's really going on. And even more importantly, let's talk about how to shift that immediately, how to make some shifts immediately. Okay. So it's what I like to call the illusion of I'm already showing up, right? How many of you feel like that? Like, I'm already showing up online. I'm doing all the things. Here's the truth. A lot of high achieving holistic health and functional medicine practitioners, they're visible, meaning, and I'm doing air quotes for those of you who are listening, they're visible, meaning they're showing up, there's a presence, but they're not actually leading from a place of true alignment and authenticity. They're not, right? So you can post content every day, all day. You can post content 15 times a day and still not feel fully embodied in your message. And if you're not feeling fully embodied in your message and what it is that you're posting, then guess what? It's not going to land with the people that you are wanting it to land with. It won't. It absolutely won't, right? Because again, it's not embodied messaging. You're not speaking your truth. You can create all the carousels, you can create all the reels, you can create all the IG stories, you can create all the emails that you want to, and still feel unseen. Like, how come no one's, what's going on? So it's still feel unseen. And then also still not experience that traction that you want in your business. Why? Why is this? It's because the energy behind the words matter more than the words themselves. And that's so important, you guys. I'm going to repeat it again. And if you are not driving, if you're in a place where you're taking notes or you can't take notes, I want you to write it down. I want you to highlight it. I want you to circle it. I want you to put an asterisk around it or next to it. I want you to put it on a Post-it note someplace that will remind you that the energy behind the words matter more than the actual words themselves. That's so important. So if you are posting from a place of proving energy, if you're posting from a place of pick me, I like to call it pick me energy, like pick me, work with me. If you're posting from that energy, right, that performative energy, it will never land the way you want it to land with the people who need it. There are people out there, you guys know this, there are people out there. There are health seekers out there who are specifically looking for you. Not just anybody in the holistic health or functional medicine space. They're looking for you because only you can do what you can do the way you can do it. I say that all the time, and I mean it because it's true. Your secret sauce, your superpower is you. I don't have your secret sauce. You don't have my secret sauce. You couldn't possibly. I couldn't possibly. But that's what makes us uniquely us when we show up in our true, authentic self. Now, if we're hiding from that, if we're not showing that, if we're not really willing to show up in our fullest version of ourselves, then they can't connect with us. Okay. And that's what people want. They want to be able to connect with you. And you want them to, right? So this is why it might feel like you're doing all the things, whatever all the things are. I mean, there are plenty of things that need to be done in business, but this is why that you might feel like you're doing all the things and you're still not getting the traction that you want and the traction that you desire. Okay. And so what does it even mean to be split? So this split energy that I'm referencing, it's when one part of you is like craving that visibility, like that increased visibility is truly your next step. It's like one of the biggest pieces to the puzzle in terms of your next level expansion, like that. But on the other side, you are secretly, quietly afraid of what will happen if you're actually seen, if you are actually seen. Right? This is what it sounds like. In case you're like, well, what is that? What you know? Number one, you already know, but let me give you some examples just in case. So that might sound something like, what will people think? I absolutely remember when I first launched my holistic health coaching business back in 17, 18, something like that. Because a lot of my friends, most of my friends on Facebook were I worked with them previously in the hospital, right? So there were nurses, nurse practitioners, even physicians, right? And so I remember having that fear around what are they going to think? The reality of it is they weren't even my ideal clients, so it didn't even matter what they thought. But I remember shrinking, I remember not showing up in my fullest expression, not really posting what it was that I really truly wanted to post, because in my mind I was concerned about what are they going to what are they going to think, what are they going to say. I also felt, and you guys might be feeling this too, but I also felt that like, are they going to think that I've abandoned, like I've turned my back on healthcare? Because I was, now functional medicine, holistic health is becoming more and more mainstream. I mean, it's in the process of becoming more and more mainstream. Back then, and I feel so old when I say that, but back then, holistic health and that wasn't like an everyday term. And so I kind of secretly had this fear or concern, like, oh my God, they're going to think that, I'm against healthcare and all those years as an ICU nurse, whatever. Right. So it might sound like that. What will people think? It might sound like, what if they don't get it? And I won't even get into that one. But so what if what if they don't get it? Right. What if I post and no one engages? What if I post and no one engages? Or what if I do get the attention? Oh my gosh, what if people actually do see my stuff and they do start reaching out, right? And then what if I can't sustain it? What if I can't hold that level of success? Have you had those thoughts? Does it sound familiar? Or any of these sounding familiar? Yeah. And so this is really at the root of your watered down messaging, right? It's vanilla. It's so vanilla. It blends in with everybody else in the functional medicine or holistic health space that's posting it. Literally, you sound like everyone else. And for an example, like let's say, for instance, you're in the medical weight loss space. I don't know about where you live, but I could only imagine. But where I live, probably within a 5-mile radius, there are at least minimally 5 either med spas that offer medical weight loss, or there are clinics that are run by nurse practitioners or owned by nurse practitioners over there, or doctors for that matter, and they all do medical weight loss. And so here's the thing: if everyone's posting and their messaging is all the same, then you blend in. There's no differentiation. That ain't a good thing. That is definitely not a good thing, because what ends up happening is now it becomes a race to the bottom. You're having to compete on price. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the price is going down lower and lower and lower. That's not a great thing. That's not a good thing, right? This is why your bolder content lives inside your drafts instead of in the world. It's in that little draft folder on Instagram, right? And here's the thing: it might not even be there anymore, because that after 7 days it disappears. Okay, so. But that's where all your good stuff is. It's in the stuff that you haven't actually posted. So the reality of it is, the reality of it is that you're not lacking content. You have plenty. You have plenty to say. You are freaking brilliant. There's no question there. What's happening is you lack congruence. You lack congruence because you say that you're ready. Like on one hand, you say that you're ready to lead, to expand, to make a massive impact in this world. This is what I know. If you're here with me, listen to me, then you know that you're here to build something big. Not just to have this little bitty scrawny business and not to be the world's best kept secret that no one even knows about. No, no, no. You're here to do big things in this world, right? If you're here with me, that's what I know. So you say that you want to lead and you say that you want to make this big, huge impact, but energetically, you're still negotiating. You're still negotiating with the parts of you that don't feel safe being seen or don't feel safe being your big, being in your bigness. Okay. And so here's the thing. One of my mentors, Tracy Litt, she says this and she says it so beautifully. And you might want to write this down. Change happens at the speed of safety. Change happens at the speed of safety, right? And so how this shows up in your business, how this split or misaligned or incongruent energy shows up in your business, it sneaks into your strategy. Because here's the thing, you can have the best strategy under the sun, best strategy, but because there's incongruence, you're not going to, the energy in which you're implementing that strategy, you won't see results. And that's what a lot of you are experiencing right now. And the reason why I know this, because I have conversations with many of you in the DMs, right? And so what happens is, again, this is what happens. It starts to sneak into your strategy. You soften your message. You soften your message in an effort to avoid judgment by whomever, family, friends, coworkers, colleagues, whoever. But write this one down too. This is big. All judgment is self-judgment. We don't have time to unpack that today. However, all judgment is self-judgment. So just kind of let that sink in for a second. Right? The other way that you find that it kind of sneaks into your strategy is that you shrink. You shrink. You shrink in your presence. You shrink in your visibility. You shrink in what you're saying online, posting online. You shrink in your pricing. You totally over deliver, but undercharge. You know that the level of health transformation that you provide is huge. It's priceless. However, you're charging less than what you know that you want to charge. And you know this. Like, this is not news to you. You know this, right? And what happens is that you default to safe content instead of saying what you actually really want to say, right? I can't tell you, this is the thing. I can't tell you what you really want to say. You know what you really, really, really want to say, but maybe you're too afraid to say it for whatever reason. But here's the thing. You know what it is because you'll put it, it's in your drafts. That's what you really want to say, or it was in your drafts, but it got deleted because you let it sit there for over 7 days, right? But you know what you want to say, but you're not saying it. And the parts that you're not saying are the parts that actually need to be said. That's going to be the game changer in your business. And all of everything that I literally have just shared, it creates the illusion that you have either a content problem or that you have a marketing problem, a sales problem. And here's the thing, there might be areas in your marketing or your sales process or your content or whatever that need to be tweaked. I'm not saying that that's not true. You probably do need to tweak some things, but in reality, more than anything, more than it being a content problem or a marketing problem or even a sales problem, you have an embodiment problem. You have an congruence problem, right? You have an energetic leak, I say that all the time. You have an energetic leak. But here's the good news, my friends. You want to hear the good news? This is not a permanent thing. This is not a permanent problem. It's a pattern. It is a pattern. And guess what? All patterns can be unpatterned. That's not even a word. All patterns can be repatterned. I think repattern is actually a word. And if it's not, it's going to be a word today. All patterns can be repatterned. That feels so weird for me saying that. But anyway, so here is your quantum expansion shift for today. I want you to pull up your last 3 posts. Pull up your last 3 social media posts, right? Go ahead, of course, do this after the episode. Don't do it right now. But I want you to ask yourself, the ones that you actually posted, not the ones that are sitting in your drafts, because that's where all the good stuff is, by the way. But I want you to, the ones that you actually pressed send or submit or whatever, and you actually posted. Look at the last 3 of your posts. And I want you to get honest with yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, was I fully bought into what it was that I said? in that post, right? Or was I hoping to be chosen? Was this posted from a place of pick me energy? Just ask yourself. Here's the thing, no judgment. But we gotta get clear on what's really, really going on, right? And if even a piece of you, if there's just one little piece of you, one thread of you that was negotiating or performative or disconnected from your truth, then what I want you to do is I want you to rewrite one sentence. That's it. I want you to rewrite one sentence from that post as the most embodied, unapologetic version of you. Uh-huh. Yeah. Say the thing. Say the thing. Own the edge. Step into your thought leadership. Lead with conviction. Yeah. And watch what happens. Watch what happens to your resonance. For real. Okay? If you're really serious about shifting, if you're really serious about, breaking through this plateau, the stuck or the stagnation, if you're really serious, that is your quantum leap exercise for today, your quantum expansion shift for today. Okay. Alrighty then. That being said, if this episode stirred something inside of you, if it stirred even a little bit of something inside of you, if you felt called out, but also called up, this is part of the work that we do inside of the Quantum Leap Collective. Okay, this is part of the work that we do inside the Quantum Leap Collective. It's not just the business strategy. That's important, absolutely. But as I've shared today, and I even shared it, I talked about it on last week's episode. If there's a misalignment, if there's an incongruence between your strategy and your embodiment, like who you are, who you're showing up in the execution of that strategy, it's going to fall flat. It's going to fall flat every single time. Okay. So if you've been following me on any social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, then you have seen that the doors are open to the Quantum Leap Collective. They opened a couple of days ago, actually. Get in there. Get in there. Okay. We don't just talk about strategies, right? We support you in becoming the version of you who can actually hold the level of business and the level of success that you say that you want. Okay. The level of visibility, the level of abundance or the amount of abundance that you say that you want. Okay. This all happens inside the Quantum Leap Collective, right? We close inside the Quantum Leap Collective. I got to stop saying that so fast. Inside the Quantum Leap Collective, there we go. We close the gap between who you say you are and who you're actually showing up as online and in person in your business. Okay. So if you're ready to move from that split energy to that embodied leadership, then click the link that's down below in the show notes. Okay. I would love to support you inside the collective. Okay. All right. And so until next time, lead with power, speak your truth, I was going to say something else. I won't say it. Speak your truth, own your brilliance is what I'm going to choose to say instead of the other word that I've said many times. But and trust your next leap. Trust your next leap. Okay. As always, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time on the Charyse Show. Bye for now.